Hi kids, welcome to this week's art lesson. I'm so glad you've joined me today. My name is Miss Roz and I'm a PACE teaching artist. We're going to be doing an arts integrated social studies lesson today on maps. We're going to make a treasure map, something like a pirate might have used, or maybe you've used one in a scavenger hunt. You might be watching me today in your classroom or in your home. Either way, you can follow along. How many of you know what a map is? Or have you ever used a map? Maybe you've seen your parents use one on their phone. Or maybe you've seen one on paper or in a book. A map can show many different places, like the whole world, or maybe a country or a city, or maybe a map of a place like Disney World or the zoo, or even just your school. Map makers draw them like they're looking overhead, like a bird. They draw them using symbols. Can anyone tell me what a symbol is? That's right. It's a small, simple picture of something. Symbols stand for something else. Map makers use symbols because they need to be easy to read. And you don't need to draw all the extras like the people in the picture or even the cars. And you don't draw the sky or the sun because in a map of a place, you're looking down, just like we are a bird flying overhead. Let's look at some maps from a textbook. This is a picture of a neighborhood map. Do you see the title here? Map makers need to make titles so people who look at their maps know what it's a map of. This is a neighborhood. You can see the symbols that they chose, the buildings in the map. You can see where the streets are, like this. And then in the corner, there's something called a map key. By looking at this map key, you can read the words and try to find what it's looking for in the map. We know this is a symbol for the school. Can you find the school? How about the post office? This says post office. Can you see where the post office is? And it shows you the fire station and the beach and all the different things in the map. Let's look at a different map in the book. This is a map of Miss Stein's classroom. You can see where Miss Stein's desk is. She used a shape like a rectangle for her desk. You can see where the tables are and even where the chairs are. Doesn't it look like we're above the classroom looking at it? We're not sitting along the table, we're above, so it looks kind of like a bird's eye view. I see the map key in the corner. The map key helps us find things in the map. Notice over here, this is called a compass rose. This tells you the directions. In a compass rose, we have N for north. Does anyone know what's opposite of north? South. Map makers use the first letter of the word to put that in the compass rose. Over here would be east, a capital E, and this would be west. So we have different directions in our compass rose. Can everybody say that word? Compass rose. Yes. And we remember the directions by saying north, south, east, and west. Later, I'm going to show you an easy way to remember which way where the directions go for you. Let's look at a different map. This one is a map of a state, Utah's physical map. They use some of the lines and shapes that we've been talking about in art to show you where things are. They have some blue lakes and rivers. So this way they use the color to show you where the lakes and the rivers are. Can you tell a line that the map maker used to show where the rivers are? What is the name of that line we've been talking about? Wavy line. How about the mountains? What shape did the mountain did the map maker use for the mountains? I can see where all the mountains are because he placed a triangle. Triangles have 3 sides. And then the brown parts are the deserts. So by looking at shapes and colors, we can read the maps easily. Let's look at a pirate's map. I think it would be cool if we made a map that looked like this. This is Blackbeard. He was a famous pirate. And I got this at Disney World in a pirate exhibit. I think it would be cool to make a map that looked like this, like an old pirate would have. A long time ago, pirates would take someone's treasure chest that was filled with jewels and coins, and they would go to a secret place to bury it, and they would come back later to get it. They would make a map, and they would draw a letter X where they hid the treasure so they wouldn't forget where they put it. And then they could look back at their map and follow their route to try to get to their treasure. This one has turned kind of light brown because it is old. And that's what white paper does when it gets old. Pirates are definitely real. They're not make-believe. The way they dress in this picture shows you the way they dressed in the past, not in the present. This is a pirate ship that the pirates would sail in to go to find their treasures. Next, we're going to look at some of the lines to see if you can remember them from our past lesson. We're going to review the 6 lines we have been talking about in art this year. You say them with me. Straight line. Curved line. Wavy line. I want to hear you say it. Zigzag line. Dotted line. Dashed line. Now let's think about what these lines could be used for as a symbol. For an instance, a wavy line looks kind of like a body of water. Can anyone guess what a wavy line kind of looks like? What kind of water does it look like if you were looking overhead? A river. It looks like a river because sometimes when rivers wind and bend. Or maybe it could be a curvy sidewalk. So we're going to go through the lines and some shapes, and you're going to decide what it kind of looks like and how you will use that line as a symbol. Remember, a symbol stands for something. In our map, we're going to draw a place that possibly has landforms. Landforms can be mountains. Are you looking at Miss Ra's finger? Can you see what line might show where mountains are? What are you thinking? Are you thinking zigzag? Because that's what I'm thinking. A lot of mountains together could show a mountain range. And in between the mountains are called valleys, but this is a mountain. Or maybe we could show, for a curved line, we could show this. This is a hill, boys and girls. It curves like a rainbow. A hill is more rounded than a mountain. A mountain has points, but a curved line could definitely show where the hills are in your map. Maybe it could be a grassy hill, or maybe it's just a big pile of dirt. Have you ever seen a big dirt hill? I have. This could also be showing where an island is. An island is some land that's surrounded by water. So it could definitely be showing, a curved line could show where the island is. That looks beautiful. Doesn't that look like a fun place to go? I'd love to go there. We're going to think about bodies of waters like rivers and lakes. This is a map that Miss Roz drew. You see my bodies of water. This is a river. And this is a pond. A pond is a smaller body of water. This is a picture of a pond and a lake that I have found that you could see. Also a lot of trees together. Do you know what that's called when lots of trees are together? It's called a forest. I'm going to show you how to draw some trees with some straight lines. So we could have some bodies of waters and some trees. And we might need to think about some transportation, like roads and streets and highways, even railroad tracks we can show with a line that we know. Do you remember that dash line? We can use some dashes to make a train track. We need to think about if there are buildings in the city and where the neighborhoods or the people lived. And we could use some symbols for that. We might even need a parking lot to park our cars. And lastly, where would you hide a treasure in this place? Pirates put a big X on the map where the treasure of gold is. You can see in Miss Roz's map that she made here that I put the X where the treasure is near the mountains. I put a red dot over here where I wanted the person to start at, and then I made dash lines. Can you follow my finger? This is the route you would take to get to the treasure. So I would go from the buildings, through the road, down the road, over the train tracks, across the river to the mountains to get to the X. In your map, you're going to plan your route to find your treasure, and you're going to be able to put the X in your map wherever you want to place your treasure. Let's get started to make our map. Let's get some supplies ready. Today, if you have some construction paper in colors, I'm using a tan color, so it kind of looks like that pirate map. But if you don't have tan, you can just use a regular piece of white paper. So you only need one piece of paper for the map, and then later we might need another piece of paper that's white. So 2 pieces of paper. You might need your scissors because we're going to do a little bit of cutting at the beginning, and then some crayons to draw. If you happen to have markers, we can use those as well. But if you don't have markers, crayons are fine. So I'll give you a minute to go gather your supplies, and you can meet me back here. All right, let's get started. Today, Miss Roz is going to be drawing 2 maps. But you don't have to draw 2 maps. I'm just going to show you some ideas about what you could do for the maps. So I'm going to give you a couple of choices, and then once you watch me draw, then you'll be able to draw. You don't have to draw everything that I'm drawing. Let's start our brains and our imaginations thinking. The only rule for today is that we try to use all 6 lines and some shapes as symbols. So the first thing we're going to do is get our paper to look like a treasure map. So I have my paper. It's a rectangle and some scissors. And a rectangle has corners or points. So I want my paper to look old. So do you see where the corner is? I'm going to cut just a little bit of that corner off. Do you see how much I'm cutting? Just a little bit off. It's a little bit curved. It's a little bit wavy. Now I'm going to my other corner, and I'm cutting that off. So it's starting to look more like a treasure map. Here's corner number 3. Just a little bit. Do you see my scrap? It's not very big. So I'm not cutting much of my paper because I want my map to be pretty as large as possible. And then here's corner number 4. Got it? That kind of looks like that old pirate map that we saw. Next, we're going to write our name. If you have your pencil, can you write your name on the back? My name is Roz, so I'm writing my name at the top. And then I want you to turn your paper over after you write your name. Today we need to put a title. on our map, and it's going to be called treasure map. This is going to be our word bank. So if you need to know how to spell treasure, you could look at Miss Roz's. The title for the map goes at the top, and we use capital letters for the word treasure. I'm going to start kind of on the left, and we're going to make a capital T, R, E, A, S, U, R, E. That spells treasure. Finger space for our next word. Map is also a capital letter, so when you write a title, you have to remember to put capital letters at the top. Once you write treasure map, you can write it with you can trace over it with your crayon or with your marker or whatever you want to write with today. So this is going to be a map of a place. It's a place of your imagination. Miss Roz is going to go through the lines, and then you're going to decide what kind of landform do you want to make with that, or what kind of place do you want to use with that symbol. All right, are you ready to start? Let's start with the zigzag line. What are you thinking when you think of a zigzag line? Let me show you some choices which you could be thinking of. Maybe it could be those mountains, and you can decide, since you're the artist, where you want to put those mountains. I might want to put it near the top. To make a zigzag, you go up, down, just a few. We want to save space, so we'll have some other room to make some other things. Mountains are very tall, and sometimes they have snow at the top of them. So I'm going to draw a little zigzag right here to show us where the snow is in the mountains. Maybe you want your zigzags. I think a good symbol for a zigzag might be a grassy field. What if I made tiny zigzags? And that can show where the grassy field is. I think every place needs a great place for children to play. This could be a soccer field, and we could draw the goals if we wanted to. Or it could be a mountain. Do you see how Miss Roz has already used the zigzag line? So I use it for mountains or grass. Pick the one that you like the best, and you show your zigzag as a place, as a symbol on your map. Got it? Next, I'm thinking of wavy line. Let's get our brain thinking. What could be a wavy line? Well, we saw in those earlier maps, a wavy line can show a river. Watch Miss Roz. I'm using blue, but you could use whatever color. I might have a river. This river might wind and bend. So this is the left side of the river, and this is the right side of the river. You can also add some curves to make it look more like water. So wavy line is the symbol for a river here. Maybe you want to use wavy line as a sidewalk or a curvy path. Have you ever been on a walking track? Maybe we could have a little running track around the soccer field. That's a wavy line. I could also, in this path symbol, I could put some dotted line. This might be the rocks and the stones that might be in the path. So use your imaginations to make your symbols as creative as you can. So we've used zigzag and wavy. Zigzag and wavy. Do you have something in your map that's a zigzag and a wavy? Great. Next, go on to curve. I'm thinking of a hill. It could be a grassy hill, or it could be a hill of dirt. So let's look on the map. This might be my symbol for hills. There's one curve, might be a group of curves. I have 3 hills over here. So if you want to use the curve line, I'm also putting some grass on it. That's my symbol for a hill. A hill is not as round, pointed at the top as a mountain. Maybe you want your curved line to be that island. The island can be over here. There's the land. We might even put a tree on the island. That's a curved line for the trunk. So what symbol are you going to use your curved line? An island, a hill, a dirt hill, a grassy hill. There's my island. Now for an island, it needs to have water around it, right? So I'm going to draw a shape. This is kind of like an oval, but it's wavy, so we call that an organic shape. The island's in the middle of some water. You can do that as well. So now we're filling up our maps. We're putting a lot of things. So next, we've done zigzagged, and we've done curved, and we've done wavy. I'm thinking of some roads. That way we could use straight line and we could use dash line. Where would a road go? You might have a straight line road. Your road could also curve around. Could go over here. So my road is a little bit straight, it's a little bit wavy. And do you ever see this line that I'm drawing right now in the middle of a road? Yes. What is that line called? Can you remember? Dashed line. That's right, it's a dashed line. I'm going to put a road over here. We might need some roads to get places in our maps. We might even need a place to park. I see parking lots sometimes. You ever been to Walmart's parking lot and you can see the lines where they drew so the cars can park. That's a short straight line, kind of like a dash line. So now I have a road as a symbol and I have a parking lot. It looks like I'm a bird and I'm looking right on top of the map. I might want to put a parking lot over here. A shape can be a symbol. This might be my parking lot over here. What shape did I draw? It had 2 long sides and 2 short sides. Rectangle. Great. So now we've done dash line, and in this one I've done dotted. How about trains? We can show a train track. Let's see what color I'm going to switch for a train track. Maybe I'll use purple. Train tracks I draw with kind of like a wavy line, wherever you want the train track to go. And then I just kind of do a little dash line going across to show where the train track is. This is my symbol for train tracks. Do you want a train in your map? Great. If you wanted to actually draw the train, you could do that. I draw the train using shapes. The train has different cars. I put some wheels on them. If you wanted to draw a train, I connect them. I make one look like the engine. And there's the train. Later, we can go back and color some of those things. So we've done zigzag, wavy, dashed, straight, curved. Where do the people live in your map? We might want to show a symbol for a house. Let's see what color we haven't used yet. I want it to be colorful. Maybe we can show where the neighborhood is by drawing little houses. A square and a triangle might show you where the neighborhoods are. This might be my symbol for neighborhood. Also, we could also make a different symbol for where the stores are, where the mall is, where some apartments are. So do you see how we're filling up our map? Great. So if you have some extra space, you can decide what is in those places by using your lines. I'll give you a few minutes to add to any extra space that you may have. And then we're going to color it. Artists Make compass roses. Look at these beautiful ones that artists have created. This shows you all the cardinal directions. Say the cardinal directions with me. North, south, east, and west. Another way you can remember this is never eat soggy waffles or never eat soggy watermelon. But look at the fancy way they did it. They put arrows, they made stars out of them. These are pretty cool. Great. Do you have enough things filled in on your map? Let's color kind of quickly. You might want to put a little color on your mountains or on your hills. You can have fun with this, and they can be any color you want. Later, when you have more time, you can color more. Are you thinking about where you can put this treasure? I am. I'm thinking where a great place to hide the treasure would be. Let's look at it. So, we are going to use a red. Do you have a red crayon? We're going to use a red to show where we're going to put the treasure. I'm thinking I want to hide the treasure kind of near the mountains. So I'm going to make a dark red X kind of over here near the mountains. Can you find your red and you draw your X? What would be your place to draw to put your treasure? Great. Now I want you to decide, where do you want the person to start at for the route? We're kind of doing this backwards. I want the person to start right here in the middle of these hills. So I'm making a little circle and coloring it in over here. So decide, where do you want them? Kind of far away from your treasure so they have a good route to find it. Good. All right. Now we're going to make a dash line. We made one here in red so somebody can see it. How do they get from start to finish? This is the route. So I'm going to think I want the person to start at the circle. They're going to go through the hills. They're going to go, we're kind of going northwest. We're going across the road. Make your red lines dark. So do you see how Miss Roz is coloring back and forth to make it dark? I'm going across the train track, over the river, and then they get all the way to the X. Do you see that? Start to finish. This is called the route. You want your maps to be easy to use. So later, when you get a chance, trade with your friend next to you and see if you can understand their map, to see if you can tell how easy it is to get from start to finish in your map. You can make a compass rose. Watch Miss Roz make a compass rose. It's pretty easy. Do you have another sheet of paper? We're going to make the compass rose on the other paper. So remember, always north is at the top, so put a capital N at the top of your paper. I'm going to draw a vertical line from the top to the bottom. Can anybody tell me what direction goes down here? What's opposite of north? South, so capital S. We're making a compass rose. Next, right in the middle, I want you to draw a horizontal line. Kind of looks like a cross. This is the little saying that I wanted you to remember earlier. Never eat soggy watermelon. So E is for east. Never eat soggy. What does watermelon begin with? W. W stands for the direction west. Say it with me again. So it's north, east, south, west. Never eat soggy watermelon. And then you can make your compass rose fancy if you want. Like this. Great. I hope you have fun making your treasure map and you make one again and again. So remember to make one in your classroom or at home again. When you have time, you can go back and color some of those things. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you understand why maps are very useful to use. I hope you're getting better at recognizing and making all of the 6 lines in art that we have been learning about. Maybe you can make another treasure map of your yard at home or your classroom, and you can hide something for a friend to find. Join me next week when we'll be creating a different art project. Goodbye.